Hello, how's everybody doing? I left a message for everybody. Actually, it was a short video of what we were going to talk about today. Today, we're going to organize the discussion that we had yesterday. There's a lot of it's just very good points that we're going to make today because we went over Serena Williams yesterday, and we went over my uncle, or those who get baptized late, and then we went over the parable. But the parable is what's going to put everything into perspective for us, okay? We're going to, first of all, we want to say this one thing I want to say, this one thing that I looked into, because I was really saying this parable, I mean, not just that, but the whole situation was like, really more than what we could see. More, I mean, especially more for us now because of so many things that happen, so many things that we know. But we got to look at it that was back then, okay? So you would just, back then it was just the parables, like when he was talking to them. But we can see the whole picture of everything, okay? Now, where does everything fit? First of all, I want to say that how can I say the actors and the structure of what's happening during the parables when he's talking about the parables. Now, what was in play? First, we had the Jews, which were promised by God to be the ones that they were just the chosen ones, okay? If you think back to the time of Abraham and how things were, and the world needed someone righteous, someone who could, that could shape the world, okay? I put some points in of my own, but I'll let you know that they're my points. Because the world was like really like nobody, okay? So Abraham, it was Abraham. So Abraham's children were the chosen ones because of Abraham, okay? We know that they were very beautiful and very righteous, how can I say, righteous offspring that Abraham had. There was a lot that was bad, and we know about the bad, but I want to concentrate on the good, okay? Because sometimes we always think about, we put too much energy and concentration on the offspring of Abraham that was bad. We already know them all. I mean, like, it's so like documented, but we don't think about like a lot of I guess we would have to say Jewish, because it was turned into like the Jewish were the offspring of Abraham. But I want to state this fact before we go into everything else. There was very beautiful and very righteous Jewish people. God chose Abraham's offspring, okay? And I just want to say that from his offspring, there was many that was very, very beautiful and righteous. They had some leaders, and remember, don't get the leaders mixed up with the everyday Jewish people. That's another thing that we get mixed up. We get mixed up with the leaders and the people that led the Jew. I'm going to say Jewish people because I know they can be called different things. That led the Jewish people. A lot of them were very bad. You know what I mean? And they did very bad things. Not all of them were really bad, but then a lot of them made a lot of mistakes, okay? But their mistakes that they made kind of hindered the people that they were leading, you know what I mean? So we have to keep in perspective that there's Jewish leaders and then there's the Jewish people, okay? And usually leaders have more responsibility and more pressure, okay? Especially the Jewish leaders, because they were the ones that God had chosen, okay? So I only want to set that straight in the fact that in this parable, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Jewish people. We're talking about the offspring of Abraham, okay? Excuse me. So as time goes on, I mean, it's like the offspring became very, very big, and there's this and there's jobs and there are all this other things. And then they turn into categories. However, a lot of leaders made what you have to do is like when you rule a people, you need rules for the people. But as we know, humans are not very good at making rules for everyone else. That's just in history. We already know that, okay? So, let's say, so Jesus. Now, Jesus came along, okay? And Jesus was Jewish, was definitely Jewish. And we needed him. And he knows that we needed him. And what I mean by we needed him, I mean mankind needed Jesus, because the offspring was just the only ones that were really the chosen ones. So when we talk about the parable, we're pretty much just talking about the Jewish offspring, because Jesus had not did all of the things that he was set out to do at that time. So he was just like one of the, and he set himself up as just one of the Jewish people, and that's it, just like everybody else, which are, a good people, the Jewish people. I'm not talking about the leaders, like I said. So now I wanted to set this picture in place. So Jesus actually represented mankind, because he wanted to set everybody free, give everybody a chance, okay? And because literally the Jewish were the chosen. So, but Jesus made it possible, or he was there to make it possible for everybody else. So when they made up rules, like the rulers made up rules because they were the offspring of Abraham and they were the chosen ones, God made them the chosen ones. So they had things that were considered sins, okay? You have mankind, they make rules, and those rules, if you don't follow those rules, those are sins. However, God has rules also, okay? And so I want to show you that there's God which has the rules. But even back then, let's go back then. God had the rules, and then man, who's leading over the normal Jews, even Jesus, they had rules, okay? So they determined what something was bad or something was good. So when they talk about sinners, they're pretty much talking about their rules, okay? I mean, it's just obvious, you know what I mean? It's obvious that they're talking about their rules. So that's set up for the parable that I was talking about. Let me get my glasses. Okay, so I hope everybody is following me along. I'm sure you're going to tell me if I'm going off the board a little bit. So now I'm going to go back over the thing that I was reading, because this is where we're going to tie everything in together. And it says, now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. So we're talking about just Jewish people. Most likely it's just Jewish people. Okay? So now they're all divided into different categories because time has passed and Jesus is here, and they had to make rules for mankind, for the people that are under them, okay? And there weren't really good rules. I mean, it really was difficult to follow a lot of their rules. Just like nowadays, I mean, no matter what, mankind makes rules, and it's not good for everybody. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's very selfish. And then the people have to do this and do that, and you understand how it's just like everything else, okay? But the Jewish people were very important because they started this, that was the place where God set his how can I say, from Abraham, that's where he set the things that he wanted for everybody else in the world. And like I said, Jesus was there because Jesus was there to save everybody, okay? Not just the Jewish people, okay? So now we get the picture. Now, another thing I want to state that it's impossible. It would have been impossible for anybody to think that Jesus was God. I'm just saying, okay? If they were, I'm just saying in normal circumstances, even now, today, okay? If Jesus is here and he's talking to us, there's no way in the world that you're going to figure out that that's him, okay? Unless, if you know God, you can figure him because you can pray to God and you can say, who is this person, okay? And that's the way to understand where and who Jesus is, okay? That's the perfect way. And many times Jesus said, pray to God, whatever you do, don't make the decision on your own, okay? Which is the right way to do it. Now, we're getting to the Jehovah Witness organization. Now, the Jehovah Witness organization, I'm going to say where they sit and where they stand. First of all, it's an earthly organization, okay? I can debunk them, or I can totally show there's a sect, and it's in their book too. I can't say it's the Bible because they made a lot of mistakes. I mean, it's not even a mistake. It's they changed it for themselves. But I read over the parable, and they say it actually also too, which is the most important right now for this conversation, is that now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathered around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Okay? Now that, first of all, I want to say, they judged to say that they're sinners, and how can I say? This man welcomes sinners. This man welcomes sinners and eats with them. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This man welcomes sinners and eats with them. Okay. Now, just by them saying that, we already know that only God can judge. Okay. Only God can say, this person is a sinner or that person is a sinner. However, you can say you're a sinner. Okay. But no one can say who you are or what you are, because it's judging. Nobody judges. Nobody can judge someone except for the Father. Okay. Now Jesus is on earth. Okay. So that right there shows where are the Jehovah Witness organization in this Bible. Where do they set themselves? Okay. Now, first of all, we know that when we speak, we can go from one thing. It has to sit somewhere. Everything in life, even let's pick something. Let's pick I'm gonna pick a hula hoop. Okay, a hula hoop, a simple hula hoop. Because I saw this girl. Maybe I gotta post it because I don't know. I saw this girl on YouTube yesterday. Yeah, on the shorts, and she did hula hoop like nobody else in the world. I mean, like it was in the '60s that we had hula hoops. I don't know how some people pick it up and just can do anything with it. We couldn't even do those things that these people could do with the hula hoops now. But anyway, I'm just gonna say a hula hoop. Okay. Now that if I say hula hoop, it fits in with everything. This I'm trying to explain to you that everything has to fit somewhere. A hula hoop. Okay, first of all, it's made of plastic. It has an inventor. It has to have a business, a corporation. It has to. Okay, you know what I mean. And now it has to be done globally. And you have to have lessons, and you have to people to learn it, and you have to have people to do it, and you have to people to look at it. So I'm saying they all fit together. Well, that's the same thing with everything else in the world. It has to fit together. Even you. I mean, like I have a social security number. I have to fit somewhere. You know what I mean? Everybody, in order for society to work, we all have to organize this thing. Okay, now I'm going to set like the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, the governing body, and the Jehovah's Witnesses. Where do they fit in? Where do we fit in? I can tell you where we fit into this paragraph. We fit in with Jesus, okay? Because at this point, we all needed someone to give us what was given to the Jewish people. Okay, I'm sorry, it was the Jews. I mean, I'm just saying that that's the way it happened because of Abraham. He did such a he was so righteous that they were made so that they were given this thing, okay? But I'm not really going to stay concentrated on that. The reason why I'm concentrating on that because I'm saying where we fit in here. And we fit in with Jesus because he's going to finish, now we already know because of the Bible, but he's going to finish everything that he came here for. So we would fit in with Jesus, okay? Then we had the Jewish people, and they fit in with the Pharisees and the teachers. But the Jewish people could be either the Pharisees, they could be the teachers, or they could be the sinners, okay? So that's the Jewish people because everything was Jewish, okay? So, it was not just the Jewish people that were sinning, but I guess, I don't know what the other people would be called, you know, like what do you call it? The Romans and things and people like that, okay? So I guess they would fit in with the sinners, and okay, or they could be actually called, you know, like outcasts. I don't know what they could be called, okay? But Jesus fixes all that for us. So now I'm saying the Jehovah Witness, where would they fit in? Well, from looking at the parable, they would fit in with the Pharisees and the teachers, okay? It's not that they fit in, but that's where they took up space. They took up space, because it's in their book too, the same thing, in with the Pharisees and the teachers. So they just like placed themselves there. I mean, it's not run by a Jewish organization. It's not from Abraham, so it had to be made up, okay? So that right there shows you that they actually made it up for themselves to be a kind of an organization that's almost like they were the Jewish people, You know what I mean? Which we already know that they're not, but they take up this part of the parable, okay? And if they would view Jesus as someone who welcomes sinners, okay, which means, which I'm this point I'm getting to, is as far as the Jehovah Witness, since they are taking up the space as if they're Pharisees and teachers, okay, if they're taking up that space, where would the sinners be? Okay, it's just like these people. I mean, although we know that they were sinners like everybody else, in their human nature, they came up. They judge people as sinners and as as sinners and outcasts or whatever it is. God is not saying that they are, but they came up with their own rules and regulations. And that's how the Jehovah Witness organization came up. They were able to, it's their rules and their regulations, because they're the ones that say, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. So we know it's a fake. Just by this, we can tell that it's fake, but they wouldn't even go by this. You can't even explain to them this, even though it's in their book also. I hope you understand the point that I'm making. Okay, so now another thing that we have to go into and think about is that Jesus was pretty much like acting, because he's here, and unless he didn't know, which there's a possibility that he was still learning about himself, okay? Because he was speaking from the heart. I can't say he was acting, because he was speaking from the heart. But we know that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And if God says that he's human, he's totally human. That means everything is human. It's not a lie. It's real. And believe me, if he says it's real, then it's 100% real. So a lot of people don't realize, which I realize, is that Jesus was here and he was actually a human being, okay? And that's one thing I didn't have respect for when I was Jehovah Witness, but when I left Jehovah Witnesses, I mean, and what God showed me, it was like, I told you that, and it was like, I don't ever want to go through this experience again of saying, oh, he didn't do anything. I actually said, oh, he didn't do anything. He was not, I mean, he had everything that he wanted, and then he just came down and such like that, and he knew everything, and he knew everything was going to work out. So that's not the case. At least I learned the hard way. So we know, so now we have Jesus, okay? Which point do I have to make? I made the point about where the Jehovah Witness organization, because they have to fit somewhere. So they just took the Jewish kind of they kind of like took their place, okay? Because they have to fit somewhere. I mean, they wouldn't fit in with the sinners that they're talking about. They would call us sinner, the world. Okay, that's the point I want to make now. Now I want to say, are they sinners? Because they say the world. They talk about the world, okay? So what does that put them? Because they're going to enter... Listen, they say, okay, this is their mindset, that the world, everything gets destroyed but the Jehovah Witnesses, okay? And Empire, false religion, they're not even Christian, okay? Empire, false religion. So you can't tell them this, I already know that, but I can speak it to everyone else. Where does that place them? In a dangerous position, because they're actually saying that they're not sinners, okay? I mean, if everybody else is doesn't have what they have, they're actually putting themselves in a high position that they didn't even warrant. They didn't even do anything for. They don't have an Abraham. They definitely don't have an Abraham. I mean, they don't have an Abraham. And then they're saying that this organization that they have is from God, okay? But there is no other people because, and I said stressed this before, there is no other special people, okay? But they making themselves special because they're actually sinners too, okay? So you can't have a sinner point, you can't have a sinner or a group of sinners saying that someone else is a sinner and they're not going to make it. So, but you can't explain it to them. So that puts them in a dangerous position because they don't fit anywhere, okay? And when I say dangerous position, okay, a lot of things that people don't realize is that, yes, we have God with Jesus and God and everything like that, but you still have to live. The reason why it's a dangerous position because, like, the things, think about all the things that we have to do and all the things that we do, even as an ex-Jehovah Witness. As an ex-Jehovah, when we spend all this time, we're doing this, do you think we don't learn anything? Do you think all the information is just given to us? And not just that, think about, as a ex-Jehovah Witness, you have to think about all the troubles you went through. And I had one comment that some people don't, some of the ex-Jehovah Witnesses don't make it. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Some of them don't make it. Sadder stories. But I guess, okay, we ended up, and we most likely are strong. I know we got our strength from God, but did we not do anything? What I'm trying to say is, did we just wake up and just, oh, everything's going to be all right now because we're ex-Jehovah Witnesses? No. Think about all the things we have to do. Think about all the things that we have to do now. Think about all the things we had to do to get to the position that we're in now. Think about a lot of things that we don't think about is how God cares for us, and we know it. That's one thing. We realize it. And the information that we all, sometimes during the day, we go, oh, we didn't know that. Oh, thank you, God. Or we didn't know that. Oh, thank you, God. Oh, God gave me this. Or God gave me that. Or this, God gave. It's not automatic. All those things that we're doing to live and enjoy life, actually, is things that we prepared ourselves for, things that we learned about, things that we want. And those things take time to obtain. Why I'm saying they're in a dangerous position, because they're put in this place to where they don't have the capabilities that we have. Okay, so God can care about them and love them, but remember, we have our free will. We are self-sufficient in our love, okay, in our things that we can do, you know, but they don't have that, which puts them in a bad position. No matter how much we care about our families, no matter how much we want everything to work out for them, we know that if they leave the organization, they're going to have to be taken care of like children, like babies, okay? Can you imagine if all of them came out at once? War. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. But it's explosions, you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is not just believing in God, not just being a disciple. I mean, you know, it's more to life than you think of, okay? Like I said, it's like being in a forest. I mean, I don't care how good you are, you have to know the forest. You have to learn the forest, and you learn it. God can give you setups to where you can learn about how to do this, how to survive, how to get along with people, how to find other people. That's what you need. But if you can't listen to God if you don't, and you just can't listen all of a sudden, okay? I mean, you just can't, like, it doesn't come like that. I can tell you that for 100% sure, and everybody else can too. So now we're breaking this down. So I think that's as far as we're gonna go, because now it's 30 minutes. I want to finish it there, and now we're going. It's more of a structure now, and I'm gonna look at my comments right now. I got folders. This is what I got. I show you. I got these. Let's see. Now I'm making a folder for my comments. And this is gonna end it there, and then we're gonna pick it up later on, because it's 30 minutes, and that's good enough for now. Because I had to sleep on the information that we did yesterday, and now I have to, replenish and figure out things, listen to the comments and things like that. So anyway, so I have these. I'm going to make, there's only like 3 or 4 people right now that I have a folder for, because their comments are very important to me, and those are topics I'm going to hit later on, and also I add them into my discussions. So this is not just my YouTube, it's everybody else's, especially people that started with me. We're gonna, if we do, you'll always be with me. I want you always to be with me. Okay, thank you very much. So this is that for now, and remember, we got tomorrow. Okay, have a good one.